afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today to celebrate independent film. But before we do, I want everybody to look at me. Don't look at your programs, look right here. All right. Now, spell independent. Is it D-E-N-T or D-A-N-T? If you said D-E-N-T, you're right. If you said D-A-N-T, you're a development exec, and we don't want you here. I'd also like to clear something up right now. Now, I won't be doing any Pulp Fiction humor today, all right? My name is Sam, not Jules. I've done plenty of other movies, so how about quoting me some lines from some of them for a change? But I was pretty jazzed about getting this MC gig, so I called my mom to tell her about it. Now, you know, your parents are always proud of you and what you do, and they don't necessarily believe what Siskel and Ebert say. So I'm telling my mom about it, and she says, you know, it's cool. She's proud of me. I'm proud of you, Samuel. You know the drill. Then I had to spend another 20 minutes trying to explain to her what it was and what we're honoring. Because I tell you right now, a lot of folks don't understand what an independent film is. Like, she asked me if that pig movie was getting any awards. And I told her, no talking animals got nominated for this award show. So I tried giving her examples of what independent film is. I said, it's something like Leaving Las Vegas, safe, Dead Man Walking. She said, so it's an award show for depressing films? And I said, no, it's independent film. You know, movies like The Addiction, Secret of Roan Inish, Nadja, Little Odessa. And then she said, so this is an award show for movies I never heard of, which was kind of close, so I let it go with that. But it illustrates a point. It's a different world. Movies are being made everywhere. At this moment, there are probably at least 20 indie films being shot all across the country, right now. And their budgets are probably less than it cost Miramax to get this table way up front. Which says that either budgets are dwindling or that Javier and Bob may be great at their day job, but they suck at negotiating cheap seats. Now, movies are being made everywhere. And as audiences become more acclimated to films that don't necessarily look polished, have no stars, no inhibitions, no plot, and no chance of recouping, the field opens up and amazing talents come out of the woodwork from regions and locales that are very far from Studio City. Now, more than ever, film is accessible to almost anyone. Almost anybody can make a movie, except that guy who made Clerks. You know the guy I'm talking about. He washes your windshield if you stop at Sunset and La Brea. Nice guy, but no chance of ever working in this town again, especially after his second movie. Something about rats in a mall, I don't know. But he's a nice guy. But that's what we're honoring today. The strange, the weird, the eclectic, the visionary, the new blood, and those who've been dancing to a different beat for years. Independent voices. Ladies and gentlemen, those responsible for making the movies that make us think a little deeper about ourselves, our world, our lives, and not about how little you get for $7 or $8 nowadays. Well, now I'm going to bring someone else up here who knows a little something about the people we're talking about. Her tireless efforts keep the IFP West operating on a daily basis. And in exchange for her commitment throughout the year, we let her come up here and say a few things before we start handing out awards. Ladies and gentlemen, the hardest working woman in the independent field outside of Lily Taylor, Dawn Hudson.
Hi, everybody. At IFP West, our first mission is to serve independent filmmakers, to provide them with the information and the resources they need to get their work up on the screen. And our second is to provide a sense of community for the independent filmmakers, especially here in Hollywood. And our third is to build audiences for these films, to bring public attention to them, for the films that are smaller and stranger, subversive, we hope, more personal films. Now I'd like to introduce the president of IFP West, a woman who's worked within and without the studios without losing her soul. Welcome, Barbara Boyle.
I don't know, it's something wild when we have teleprompters. I mean, we may be getting too much establishment. I have to do a couple thank yous, one particularly to Miss Dawn Hudson. When I joined the organization 6 years ago, we were like walking through the wilderness. Now, under Dawn Hudson's guidance, we are marching down a broad path. Thank you, Dawn. I also want to thank the 3 honorary co-chairs, Jodie Foster, Lawrence Fishburne, and John Travolta. John Travolta owes me one. Now I know why Desdemona loved Othello so much. He looked like Lawrence Fishburne. And I thank them very much for their devotion to IFP. Todd McCarthy wrote in Variety something I thought was very interesting. Independent films are no longer incidental. Independent films are about something. They're provocative and interesting. And for that, we should all in this room take a great deal of pleasure and pride. Winston Churchill said, "I am easily satisfied by the very best." Ladies and gentlemen, so am I, Miss Jodie Foster.
Wow, I get music too. I never prepare speeches, but I can say one thing. Walking onto this stage, a lot has changed in the last year at the IFP. For example, we now have teleprompters. There is absolutely nothing on them. Swear to God. They got the teleprompters because somebody was supposed to have speeches, and they realized nobody could bother writing the speeches. So they're just sitting there to attract you and to tell you how important independent films really are this year. I imagine these changes are about the amount of money that's come into the IFP and the amount of money that's come into the independent industry. For example, a lot of actors are out of work, so they got the tallest ones. You know, well, Michael Crichton, Liam Neeson, John Lithgow, they all came by you in little Harlequin outfits to wish you well, even though they weren't nominated. You'll notice at your tables there are these wonderful lazy Susans. They decided, I guess, that now that basically the studios pretty much finance these luncheons, they may as well not have to reach for a damn thing. Give us 20 more bucks a table and we'll get you a lazy Susan, and everybody said yes. On a more serious note, I think there is something that has quite dramatically changed in the last year. This is my particular bandwagon right now. You'll be hearing lots of bandwagons this afternoon, something that the IFP seems to excel in. My bandwagon is there are just too many damn movies made this year. You may say, but hey, isn't that a good thing? Isn't it great that we have too many movies? Well, there were a lot of great movies. There were a lot of movies that stunk. There were a lot of independent movies. There were a lot of mainstream films distributed by the majors. There were a lot of movies that tomorrow or the day after I will not remember, not one drop, not one detail. There were a lot of movies that I'll never forget, and I wish I could. There are a lot of movies that were wonderful, well-crafted, technically beautiful, filled with heart and longing and meaning, that got pushed out of the theaters about a week after they came in. Once again, too many damn movies made. I hope that we celebrate the amount of independent films that have reached the consciousness of America and of the world this year, probably more than any year that I can remember. There's that other race, of course, this week that is peopled with lots of independents coming in and saying, somehow we figured a way to get in. I think what we're here to celebrate today is provocative, excellent performances, all in 1 year, that will move you and shape you and change this industry forever. So I pass you on to the day and promise not to talk too much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's get this show on the road before the tide rolls in. Our first two categories are foreign film. I said foreign, not boring. I know. Same difference. And the Cinematography Award, which I have nothing funny to say about. But the presenters are two very funny people who I'm sure will have a lot to say. You'll be catching them both in the upcoming release, Time to Kill, which has a small cameo by me. And he just completed his directorial debut, Albino Alligator, which was missing for just a little while, but he did finally recover his film, and is now available in video cassette on 125th Street in the Homeboy cut. And she just finished directing her first short, Making Sandwich. Let's bring them up. Sandra Bullock and Kevin Spacey.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Anybody drunk yet?
That was funny.
Thank you.
That was really funny.
Well, he said we were funny, so I figured we had to be.
Uh-huh.
We're, Sandra and I are very delighted to be here. In fact, we can't tell you how happy we are to be here.
Very happy.
I don't know why we can't tell you, but we can, that we're happy to be here. In fact, when the Independent Spirit Awards called us and asked us to be here, we said yes immediately.
The ambassadors for film, as you would. No, maybe?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's easy when they offer you, a good amount of money to do just about anything, I think. What?
What do you mean they offered you a good amount of money to do this? What are you talking about?
Saturday afternoon, nobody's going to work for free.
Oh, yeah, right. That would be stupid. All right, you got paid for this?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? What did you get paid?
I mean, they gave me, some money. It's a little bit, it's not huge, but it's a nice, stipend, as it were.
A stipend? They paid you a stipend to hand out this lawn ornament?
Oh, that's classy, Kevin.
Yeah. All right, the nominees.
Did you say law and order?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Well, that's respectful.
So play endlessly on Bravo later.
Okay.
It'd be like a nightlight. The nominees for Best Cinematography are Elliot Davis for The Underneath,
Jim Deneau for Nadja.
Declan Quinn for Leaving Las Vegas,
Tom Richmond for Little Odessa.
and Newton Thomas Siegel for The Usual Suspects. And the Spirit Award goes to Declan Quinn, Leaving Las Vegas.
I'm gonna love you like no one's loved you. High as a mountain, deep as a river.
Thank you. Well, I don't have a lot to say, just that I'm glad that there are stories like Leaving Las Vegas that are still out there to be made. And thank you, Mike, and Valdemar, Annie, and Nicholas, and Elisabeth. Thanks a lot.
We have another category to announce, but I just want to say that despite confusion about who's being paid and who's not being paid for being here today, I genuinely feel a lot of warmth in this room, and it's nice to be taken for who you are and not always identified with the parts you play.
Wait, wait. But you know, you have played some pretty crafty roles this year, haven't you? Pretty out there kind of stuff that you did this year. Just really you know, it's out there.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
Nothing, I'm just saying, you know, like people often get roles, you know, based on certain sides of, you know, their personality that, you know, directors can see something in you that would make them want to say, here, Kevin, play someone who would cut someone's head off and put it in a box. I mean, it's, you know, it's like, you know, it's great that you allow that side to come out of yourself.
So you drove a bus around in circles all last summer. What does that say about you?
Poster child for the RTD.
All right, the nominees for Best Foreign Film are
Before the Rain, directed by Milcho Manchevsky.
City of Lost Children, directed by Marc Caro and Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Exotica, directed by Adam Egoyan.
I Am Cuba, directed by Mikhail Kalatazov.
Through the Olive Trees, directed by Abbas Kiarostami.
Spirit Award goes to Before the Rain.
Milcho Manchevsky.
Before Katerina accepts this award on behalf of the director, Milcho Manchevsky, as the producer, I'd just like to thank a few people. It took a lot of people to make this film. It was very difficult. And for all those people who were involved, they all took a risk. And thank you for that. I'd just like to thank Gramercy, Russell, Claudia, and Stephen. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Polygram in France, British Screen in particular, Simon Perry. Who else? Oh God, I've probably forgotten someone. But anyway, on behalf of the producers, the cast, and Milcho, thank you very much for this award. And I hand you to Katerina, who's going to give a speech by Milcho. Thank you.
It's not really a speech. He just asked me to come up on his behalf and accept the award, and just to thank everybody that voted for the film for remembering it, because it was quite a while ago that it came out, and he's sorry he can't be here, but thank you from the bottom of his heart. Thank you.
Hey now. The Special Distinction Award is given periodically to someone who defines independence, someone who does it their way by any means necessary. That doesn't only describe our recipient, but also our presenter. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Bogdanovich.
Thank you. About 30 years ago, I was a young stage director who'd done some second unit for Roger Corman, and Roger gave me a chance to make my own picture. And I wrote a script with Polly Platt, and I'd known Sam Fuller for about a year and a half. And I called him up, I went over to see him, and I said, and Sammy was in his living room, in his shack, as he called it. And he said, "Tell me the story, kid." So I sort of told him the story, scene by scene. And when I got halfway through, I said, and he said, "Well, why are you killing Karloff in the middle of the picture, kid?" I said, "Well, I only have him for 2 days, Sam. I can't." He said, "Never worry about anything when you're writing a script. Never worry about the time, never worry about the money. Write the script the way you want it, kid. Worry about the money and all that stuff afterward." So then, for the next 3 hours, Sammy walked up and down the living room and rewrote the entire script. I took a lot of notes. I went back and typed it, and that's what we shot. And I said to Sam, "Jesus, Sam, you rewrote the entire script. I got to give you credit for this." "No credit, kid, no credit. If you give me credit, they'll think I did everything. You do it. You take the credit." A couple of days later, John Ford's son, Patrick Ford, I told him the story. He said, "You just got the one of the highest paid Hollywood script doctors for nothing. Don't forget it. I didn't. So I'm very happy to give an award to one of the great independents, Sam Fuller. He said to me one time, so many things over the years that he's told me that I've remembered. One of the funniest things was I said to him, Sam, you know, I was just starting, and I said, do you ever make money on pictures, Sam? I mean, besides your salary? He says, very rarely, very rarely. Sometimes a picture makes so much money, they're embarrassed. They give you some of it. Sam has helped a lot of filmmakers without credit over the years, and I'm not the only one, believe me, that you've heard of. Sam has meant an awful lot to me as a friend and as an inspiration, as he has to so many people who never met him. He is independent. When it said, written, directed, produced by Samuel Fuller, you knew who had made this picture. That's one of the things that independent has always stood for, and that's what Sam stands for. I don't think there's a picture I've done that I haven't thought of something he told me during the time I was making it. But the thing I remember on every picture I've done is something he said to me, kid, remember, save your money for the finish. So now, thank you, Sam, for everything.
Typewriter. What was it? Typewriter, rifle, movie camera.
It's the first time you said that, huh?
You like that title?
Oh, yes. Yeah. You like it? It tells a story.
Sam once said to me, he said, when you start your script, if the first scene doesn't give you a hard-on, throw the goddamn thing away.
Such a sour note, John. You are way off key.
Samuel Fuller.
Sometimes we like to get presenters up here that have something in common, like they've worked together or they're in the same field. And in keeping with that tradition, we tried to find the connection between our next two presenters. People who were romantically attached to Jeff Goldblum didn't work for him. And people who are more lucky than talented didn't work for her. Finally, we found the connection. People who work with Miramax and live to tell about it. I have that in common with them too. Her on the upcoming Citizen Ruth, and him on the upcoming Chasing Amy. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Dern and Kevin Smith.
You know, they asked us to come up and do the presentation and stuff, and it's great to be involved in independent film and stuff, but I've really wanted to use this. Chiefly why I did it was just to use this public forum for the industry to publicly apologize for mall rats. I just don't know what I was thinking.
Well, on a more positive note, on a more celebratory note, this must be exciting for you, though. Must be cool, huh?
Why?
Well, you were up for both the awards we're presenting today last year, weren't you?
Right. So anyway, the nominees for best.
No, wait a minute. That's amazing. I mean, that's so cool. You know, don't you want to, I don't know, say something about that, or?
I don't think so. So the nominees for the best feature.
Okay, well, but I mean, just to say what it feels like to win, and how exciting it is to win an Independent Spirit Award.
No.
Well, that's an honest choice. Why do you feel so strongly?
Because I didn't win.
Oh, wow.
Spanking the Monkey won.
It did?
Both awards.
Wow. Oh. Listen, man, these bastards shit on me, Rambling Rose. He nominated in every category but me. It's okay.
Really?
Yeah. Fuck 'em, All right. So, pushing on, then.
Yeah.
The nominees for Best First Screenplay are Kids, written by Harmony Korine.
Little Odessa, written by James Gray.
Postcards from America, written by Steve McLean.
River of Grass, written by Kelly Reichardt.
And Smoke, written by Paul Auster. And the Spirit Award goes to
Sam Fuller.
Sam Fuller. And the Spirit Award goes to you, because they felt so bad, man. Paul Auster for Smoke.
I have something in common with Laura, Kevin, and Sam. I'm thrilled to accept this award on behalf of Paul. He wasn't able to be here tonight, but he wanted me to thank Peter Newman, his director Wayne Wang, and Harvey and Bob Weinstein. Thank you.
Let's see if we can get this one right. The nominees for Best First Feature are The Brothers McMullen, written by Edward Burns, directed by Edward Burns.
Kids, directed by Larry Clark.
Little Odessa, directed by James Gray.
Picture Bride, directed by Kayo Hata.
And River of Grass, directed by Kelly Reichardt.
And the Spirit Award goes to
The Brothers McMullen.
Eddie couldn't be here today, actually. He's finishing up on his next film, but on his behalf, I just wanted to thank the IFP West. I need a couple other people he wanted to thank. He wanted to thank his cast and crew for doing everything they did on this film. He wanted to thank Tom Rothman, and most of all, he wanted to thank everyone that saw the film. Thanks a lot.
The Swatch Someone to Watch Award, ladies and gentlemen, is given to an indie filmmaker who our jury designates as an up-and-comer that you might not have heard of yet, but probably will in the near future. To present this award is a fine gentleman a great actor, and a good friend. I love you, man. I worked with the man. You might remember a little movie called Amos and Andrew. Okay. How about Kiss of Death? Okay. He's not only received the nomination for Best Actor here today, but for that alternative award show, whatever it's called, for his performance in Leaving Las Vegas, in which he plays a man who's an even bigger nuisance in public restaurants than Harvey Weinstein. Give it up for Nicolas Cage.
My heart sings like an April breeze on the wings of spring, and you appear.
Last year, the IFP West and Swatch teamed up to create the Someone to Watch Award, which honors independent filmmakers of exceptional talent and unique vision who deserve much wider recognition. The Someone to Watch Award is an unrestricted $20,000 grant which the recipient may use to pay off labs, pay the rent while writing the next script, or even shoot a new film. In a word, this award provides freedom. This year, the award selection committee chose 5 finalists from over 90 nominations submitted from around the country. Although their creations are diverse, they are alike in their artistic spirit and in their determination to create films, however slowly and painfully, independently. These are 5 filmmakers to watch and 5 names to remember. The finalists for the 1996 Someone to Watch Award are Tim McCann, director of Desolation Angels; Jennifer Montgomery, director of Art for Teachers of Children; Christopher Munch, director of Color of a Brisk and Leaping Day; Kelly Reichardt, director of River of Grass; and Rafael Zielinski, director of Fun. This year's award recipient received critical acclaim and won several awards for his 1991 feature, The Hours and Times. He wrote, directed, produced, financed, out of pocket, cast, shot, and edited the film. Photography on The Hours and Times covered a period of 8 days, primarily in a Barcelona hotel room with a crew of 2, himself and a camera assistant who he met while picking up his camera. His latest film, Color of a Brisk and Leaping Day, took him 4 years to complete from script to screen. And we hope this award will make a difference in his career, just as we know that he will make a difference in American cinema. I am honored to announce the winner of the 1996 Swatch Someone to Watch Award, Christopher Munch.
Beautiful. I feel very honored to be the recipient of this award, although I have to say I don't feel that I deserve it any more than any of the other filmmakers who were just mentioned, who were the finalists, who were all really outstanding. So I'm very, very moved. Thank you. And I think it's really a wonderful award that the Swatch Company is giving, because it's unique in the film world, and I think for people who are working sort of in less familiar forums and doing more challenging work, it's a very meaningful acknowledgement of that. So to Bill and Denise and everybody at Swatch, thank you so much. And I hope it's in some way, on some level, a validation of a certain type of art house independent cinema that has kind of been waning in recent years, but which I hope will continue to thrive. And so for all the filmmakers who are working with less familiar forums and doing more challenging work, I encourage them to persevere. So thanks.
I asked him for the check, he almost gave it to me. I'm really excited because I just got some excellent news from my agent. I'm going to be doing a guest shot on the season ender of Friends. Swear to God. I played Jules. Yeah, I know what I said, but come on, it's Friends. Anyway, Jules is on his odyssey, and he goes into Central Park with a semi-automatic and opens fire on the Friends. He opens fire on the Friends because he realizes they represent the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But don't worry, they're so pumped full of caffeine, they don't even realize they're dead. And then Rachel and Ross sleep together. Our next two presenters are also friends because they worked together in last year's Bullets Over Broadway. That was a badass segue, wasn't it? Woo! He can be seen in the just-released Diabolique, Mulholland Falls, and Faithful, and she's in the Sundance hit Bound. Give it up for Chaz Palminteri and Miss Jennifer Tilly.
Goodbye. Good birthday. Don't cry. A little kiss of rain. That ain't me.
Hello.
Hi.
Chaz and I are really happy to be here supporting the independent film industry.
In independent film, the actors are allowed to take chances. Sometimes in those chances, magic happens. We are very proud to celebrate the magic that these 10 actors have brought to the screen.
The nominees for the Best Supporting Male are Benicio del Toro for The Usual Suspects,
James LeGros for Living in Oblivion,
David Morse for The Crossing Guard,
Max Perlich for Georgia,
Harold Perrineau for Smoke, and the Spirit Award goes to Benicio del Toro for The Usual Suspects.
All right, thank you. I'd like to thank Brian Singer, the director, and Chris McQuarrie, the writer, and the cast, Chaz, Kevin Spacey, Gabriel Byrne, Stephen Baldwin, Kevin Pollak, Chaz Palminteri, Pete Postlethwaite, and the DP, Tom Siegel. Who else? I got some other people here to thank. Eileen Feldman for giving me the script, Rick Yorn, and Ken Koken. Oh, thank you.
Every time I see him, I go into that character. When we were on the set, when he started doing it, we all looked around to each other and said, "What is he saying?" We couldn't believe it. And I really have to applaud him because it was such a risk that he's taken. That's what I was talking about when I said magic. And he just brought it there, and he just made magic. He really did.
And I always wanted to meet him because I love inarticulate men.
All right, and now to the ladies. The nominees for Best Supporting Female are Jennifer Lopez for Mil Familia,
Vanessa Redgrave for Little Odessa,
Chloe Sevigny for Kids,
Celia Weston for Dead Man Walking,
Mare Winningham for Georgia. And the Spirit Award goes to Mare Winningham for Georgia.
Oh, Jennifer Jason Leigh, you're the reason I'm up here. You're the heart and the soul of Georgia, and I love that I'm not separated from you today. I need to be with you. I'm honored to have backed you up, and to everyone from the Georgia Film Corps that I owe my thanks. I give my love, and to everyone that I love, my family, my friends, I give my thanks.
Now, I gotta tell you, the next award is my favorite, just because it's fun to say, the Fendi. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fendi is given to a person or organization that can only be described as a friend of film, a Fendi. Last year, it went to Goldwyn, so this year's recipient should be a little worried, if you know what I'm saying. To present this award, we got a friend of the recipients to come up here and say some nice stuff about them. So put your hands together for Mr. Saul Zantz.
I had to make some notes because next week, Tuesday afternoon, I become senile. It's really an honor and a great pleasure to present awards to people like Marcy, Michael, and Tom, who worked for film, with film, and love film. We have never made a deal with them. I have never been able to make a deal with them, and that hasn't changed our relationship or friendship much. Our picture we just did, they dropped out of the race when the budget reached $28 million. They said something like the yen, the exchange with the dollar, financial restrictions and all of that. And then they called me into the office and said things like, they love the script, they love the casting, they love the actors, and they liked me a little bit too, but they weren't going to go $1 over 28 million. So we went on, and they introduced me to Miramax. They sent me down the street, and we were able to make a deal with them. What I really want to say is, Tom, Marcy, and Michael possess everything that independent filmmakers have to have. You have to have a passion for films. You have to have a desire to learn everything about making a film, which not only includes your job, but what everyone else does on a film. And then you have to have the guts to break through that solidified wall of crap that's placed around every one of us, because whatever you do today doesn't count tomorrow unless you got Redford and Pfeiffer in the picture. And you can make it at a certain price. But I have nothing but the highest admiration for all of you who worked their ass off, collective asses off, in making pictures. And where are Tom, where are Marcy, and Michael?
Everyone gets one.
I'm the designated speaker because I am the loudest of the three of us. We'd like to thank Saul especially for presenting this to us. Saul Zantz's relentless drive for a high quality he always achieves in his work and his friendship and generosity to us and others in the independent film world make it doubly meaningful for us to receive this from him. Many years ago, in 1984, when we were Orion Classics, we received the very first Findy Award. The event occurred on a Sunday afternoon at the Wilshire Abel Theater. There were about 60 people in the audience, half asleep, wondering what this independent film business was about. There was not one major independent filmmaker, star, agent, or critic present. Now we're up here and see what's before us. Wow. The independent film community is more vibrant now than we think the studio system is. The studios are now looking to a lot of people in this room for their inspiration, for new ideas, writers, casting, directors, new distribution strategies. This would not have occurred without the IFP. The IFP, both on the West Coast and the East Coast, has made this community a family with a unified purpose. We are grateful to the IFP for this award, but mainly for its existence, its steadfastness in serving the independent filmmaker, which is ultimately what Sony Pictures Classics is all about. On behalf of Marcy and Tom and myself, we thank you so much.
Okay, we're at that point in the day where we give away the Best Screenplay and Best Debut Performance Awards. I know it's a weird pairing of categories, but you know, I don't program the mess. I'm just a glue that holds it together. Now, I know you're all sitting there asking yourselves, where's young Hollywood today? Where are the Eddie Furlongs, the Alicia Witts? Funny you should ask. He's on screens now in Before and After, and she's a regular on the CBS hit Sybil. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Furlong and Alicia Witt.
I want to tell a joke. These two horses come walking into a bar, right? Bartender takes one look at them. He says, "Hey, fellas, what's with the long faces?" You get it? Long faces, right? What's with the long faces? Right?
The nominees for Best Screenplay. Leaving Las Vegas, written by Mike Figgis.
Living in Oblivion, written by Tom DiCillo.
Safe, written by Todd Haynes.
The Secret of Rowan Inish, written by John Sayles.
The Usual Suspects, written by Christopher McQuarrie. And the Spirit Award goes to Christopher McQuarrie for The Usual Suspects.
Russell Schwartz has just informed me that by winning this, I am screwed on Monday. Honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way if I had the choice. Really. I've completely forgotten everything I'm going to say. Just to be included in the sort of company I keep is
very intimidating, and to be chosen like this is a true badge of honor. I look at independent film and what it represents, and especially the suffering, and I can honestly say that out of all the people nominated, and probably everybody in this room, I have suffered less than anyone. The person that really suffered in my place is Bryan Singer, who was out here, who has been out here 10 years to my few, and made it possible for me to come out and start making my first feature film 3 months after I arrived. So at least the wings on this thing belong to Bryan. And I also want to thank the entire cast for being so respectful and so completely careful with all of the language, with glaring exception to Benicio del Toro. I give Benicio all the credit for that performance, and he's always telling me, stop it, man. If I suck, they can blame you. But thank you very much. This is indeed a great honor. Thank you.
Why the long faces, right?
Just read.
All right, fine. All righty. The nominees for Best Debut Performance are Jason Andrews for Rhythm Thief.
Lisa Bowman for River of Grass.
Gabriel Casillas for New Jersey Drive.
Rose McGowan for Doom Generation.
And Justin Pierce for Kids. And the Spirit Award goes to Justin Pierce for Kids.
To say something right now. Thank you. I'd like to thank my mom first, obviously, definitely. My father, secondly. Larry Clark, thirdly. Harmony Korine for writing this, who this award really goes to, obviously, because I wouldn't have said nothing that he didn't write. So now it's Howard's turn to talk.
I'd like to thank my moms, my dad. They locked up in L.A. And I'd also like to thank my family. That's basically it. Peace.
Thank you.
So, why the long faces? All right. Okay, 4 more, and we're out of here. All right. To hand out Best Actor Award, ironically enough, we have 2 of the business's best actresses. Alfre Woodard, who will be appearing this fall in Follow Me Home, and Mare McConnell, who recently starred in the upcoming Marriott in Ecstasy and Independence Day.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Mary and I are very excited to be here to present this category at the Independent Spirit Awards. And no jokes for us. We are probably the only 2 presenters that walk away from here today with our dignity intact.
Amen. Amen, Alfre.
Yeah.
It's great.
Good.
Good for you, girl.
Good for you.
Way to go, Alfre.
Go, Mary.
Whoa.
Go, Mary.
Alfre.
Go, Mary.
I hear
go,
you.
girl.
Let's go.
Go. Give the statue to the boys. They bad. They know it. They bad. They show it. Who are they, Mary?
Okay, here we go.
Who are
The nominees for Best Actor are Nicolas Cage for Leaving Las Vegas,
Sean Penn, the dead man walking.
Tim Roth for Little Odessa,
Jimmy Smith for Mi Familia.
and Kevin Spacey for Swimming with Sharks. And the winner is Sean Penn for Dead Man Walking.
I guess this means you tolerate me. You really tolerate me. And I am wondering if Jack Nicholson is black. So this is really, really nice. I love this movie very much. And I thank the people that were courageous enough to pay to make it Gramercy and working title. Of course, Sister Helen Prejean, who wrote the book. Susan Sarandon. And of course, Tim Robbins. And since the movie does sort of hedge on some political things, I just want to sum that up by saying that in the name of my little angels, Dylan and Hopper, and in the words of my bad guy, killing is wrong, whether it's you, me, or the government. Thank you very much.
I guess I won't be telling them which way to go. All right. Along with Mare, who's going to present something else, the award for Best Actress is for, along with Mare, wait a minute. Thank you. Along with Mare, who's going to present something else, here to present the award for Best Actress is someone who got to live in Jurassic Park and who just directed the short film Little Surprises, which is nominated for the Alternative Award, and is also starring with Mare in the upcoming Independence Day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeff Goldblum.
And again, Mary McDonnell.
I promise I won't dance. I promise.
I missed that. You danced before?
Well, Alfie and I don't know, we got carried away. We hadn't been together in a while.
Oh, really? Since what did you do? You did what did you do again?
Passion Fish and
Yeah.
Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah. And Grand Canyon, so good. You were so wonderful in
Oh,
that.
Jeff, thank you.
Well, You're welcome.
I like your work too.
What? Oh, you do? Thank you.
Yes, I do. We've never met before.
It's true, we've never
Yeah,
met
we
before,
haven't.
but we did a movie at this. We did this Independence Day that's out this summer.
Yes,
We're-
about
we're in the-
aliens.
Yeah, we're in the same movie, but we never met.
Right.
Wow. Well, it's a real honor, real honor.
The honor is mine.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
Well,
The nominees for Best Female Lead are Jennifer Jason Leigh for Georgia,
and Alina Lowenson for Nadja.
Julianne Moore for Safe,
And Elisabeth Shue for Leaving Las Vegas.
Lily Taylor for The Addiction, and the Spirit Award goes to
There it is, there it is.
Elisabeth Shue, Leaving Las Vegas.
I'm gonna love you like no one's loved you. Come rain or come shine. High as a mountain, deep as a river.
Thank you very much. I really didn't want to have to get up here. It's a real honor just to be included among these group of actresses. And I'd like to especially thank Jennifer Jason Leigh. For her incredible inspiration, because when I first got this part, the first movie that I watched was Last Exit to Brooklyn. And she really taught me my characters need to be loved, and I really thank you for that. And I'd like to thank Mike Figgis for rescuing me. And for Nicolas Cage for being in this movie with me. And for our producers, Annie Stewart and Leela and Paige and Stewart! Thank you. Really, without independent films, I'd be nowhere. And I would have never gotten this chance, so thank you for honoring them. This means a lot to me.
All right. And then there were two. The Best Director Award, ladies and gentlemen, is something we take very seriously at the Spirits. And to illustrate just how seriously we take it, we're bringing out some seriously talented legends. What more can I say about them? Miss Jenna Rollins and the man who won the Alternative Award for Best Supporting Actor last year, Mr. I can do it. Miss Gina Rollins and Mr. Martin Landau.
Well, I know a few things about directors, but the one thing that I really know is that they all have vision, and they all have passion, and they all have the responsibility of the picture from beginning to end.
And they spend every waking hour with that picture. They put it to bed like a child when it's done, and then they face the critics when the film comes out into that cruel, cruel, harsh world.
For that, all of them ought to get an award, but unfortunately, We're only giving one out today.
Just one. The nominees for Best Director are Michael Almereyda for Nadja,
Mike Figgis for Leaving Las Vegas.
Ulu Grossbard for Georgia,
Todd Haynes for Safe.
John Sayles for The Secret of Roan Inish, and the Spirit Award goes to, Jenna, you do the honors?
Mike Figgis for Leaving Las Vegas.
Congratulations.
A couple of years ago, I played a very mean trick on an actor. We were shooting a reshoot of a reshoot, and I was having some problems, and the actor wanted to go home and get on a plane, and I needed another couple of hours. So I had a flash of inspiration, and I looked at the actor and I said, "I smell Oscar." And the actor looked at me and said, "Do you mean that?" And I said, "Yes, I do." What I didn't tell that actor was that my mother-in-law has a very oversexed poodle called Oscar. So every time anybody asks me what I think about the Oscars, I can't get Oscar out of my mind. It's just something I'm stuck with. When I was working with Nick, one day I did have the impulse to say, "I smell spirit." But he would have said, "I swear, Mike, I haven't touched a drop," which is true. I'm very, very proud to have this award. I thank you all very much for it. By making the film the way we made it, I threw myself into the low-budget hell. I turned down the James Bond movie to do Leaving Las Vegas, which I was proud to do, but it seemed like a financial suicide at the time. It's very, very difficult. I'm trying to set up another film now, and I'm trying to continue the spirit of filmmaking that we started with Leaving Las Vegas. And it's not impossible, but it's not easy. And there are a number of factors that make it really, really difficult. I'd love to think that it was possible for young, enthusiastic, talented filmmakers just to do what Truffaut and Godard and everybody did, which is just to borrow, steal, rent a 16mm camera, a high-8 camera, whatever it is, and go out and make a film. But there are so many restrictive situations within the American film community, which are not there for bad reasons. The unions exist for all the best reasons in the world, and I grew up in Britain, and I'm a firm believer of the right of everybody to have the protection that they need. But I just wish that we could cut some slack, and that deals were easier to make, and that one could hold budgets down, make films at half the time that we tend to make them, and maintain the kind of energy that I think result in good filmmaking. And finally, having somebody at a ceremony the other day made a very good statement, which is, this may be the most important point in your life, but it's probably the dullest and least important moment in everybody else's life right now. So keep it short. So I will, but sincerely, I would like to. I can't leave this stand without thanking a number of people and forgetting an equal number of people just through the kind of white blank that comes down. I'd like to thank my production designer, Waldemar Kalinowski, who's worked on every film I've made here. I'd like to thank my friend Annie Stewart for sticking with me through all kinds of problems, and then co-producing this film with Lila Kazez and Jean Kazez. Again, the irony was, this is a film I couldn't finance here, which is, makes me sad. I love working here, but every single independent and every single minor division of every major turned the film down at $3.5 million with Nick Cage and Elisabeth Shue and me. They didn't think that was a viable package. And so special thanks to the French and Lila Kazez and Jean Kazez and Lumiere Pictures. When the film was finally edited and finished, I then did the rounds again and tried to get distribution for the film. And the first people to see the film and the only people to make an offer for distribution were MGM UA. And I have to say, with absolute honesty and no bullshit, that the job that they did was quite superb. The patience that they had, the platform release, and the film's been out there for a long, long time, slowly gaining cinemas and now slowly losing them. But they did an incredible job, and I really would like to thank them for that. MGM. And I'm going to leave, but I have to thank Declan Quinn for his amazing cinematography and Art-On Cameras for their beautiful camera, and my very special agent, Robert Newman, who raised the finance for the film. And finally, and last but definitely not least, I'd like to thank Nicolas Cage and Elisabeth Shue for really the best working experience I've ever had in my life with two actors. Thank you very much.
You hear that? That's the melodic tinkling of 1,000 people reaching for their car keys. Which can only mean one thing. It's time for Best Feature. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the Spirit Award for Best Feature, Nicole Kidman and this year's honorary co-chair, Mr. Lawrence Fishburne.
Jacks, ladies and gentlemen, particularly those of you outside the tent, this is Samuel L. Jackson. I am Lawrence Fishburne. Please do not get us confused with each other again. Thank you. Sorry, Nicole.
That's fine.
But I was tired. I got no choice. Shall we start?
Yeah.
The nominees for the Best Feature are The Addiction, produced by Dennis Hahn and Fernando Salachin.
Leaving Las Vegas, produced by Lila Kazes and Annie Stewart.
Living in Oblivion, produced by Michael Griffiths and Marcus Vashidi.
Safe, produced by Christine Vachon and Lauren Zalzanik.
The Secret of Roan Inish, produced by Sarah Green and Maggie Renzi.
And the Spirit Award goes to, woo! Leaving Las Vegas. Lila Kazes and Annie Stewart.
Like no one's got you.
We are both very bad, very shy. Okay, anyway, I think I should thank the studios because they all passed in the project. That's how I got it. I fell in love with, and I got a chance to finance and produce with Annie. And, okay, help me. We like to thank, of course, my Figgis, his films. Absolutely. And Elisabeth, that was like a miracle. She's incredible. And Nicholas. And Declan. And John Smith, that did a fantastic job editing the film. And United Artists. The other actor.
And Stuart Regan and Paige Simpson.
Absolutely. They both to us. I hope we're not too pathetic. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. I can't thank you enough for having me. I just want to say, I love you, man. And congratulations to all the nominees and all winners and all of you for sitting through the 2 hours plus hours of this show. And if we had any more of those trophies left, I'd give you all one. But there are no more, which only means one thing. The show is over. Have a good afternoon. Bye.